take this closing ceremony forward.
A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Rekha Dey, the India coordinator of the Australian Sports Outreach Program. First of all, a very, very warm welcome to all the participants and our esteemed panelists today at the closing ceremony of the Next Steps Conference 2014. May I kindly invite our speakers today. Honourable Dame Tessa Jowell, Member of Parliament, House of Commons, United Kingdom. May we have a good round of applause for her. Mr. Ajit Sharan, Secretary, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India. Dion Review, Head of International Development, Norwegian Olympic and Paralympic Committee and Confederation of Sports. Welcome, Dion. Ms. Malini Arts, Project Officer, Sport for Development and Peace, International Working Group at the United Nations Office for Sport for Development and Peace. Welcome, Malini. And Mr. Pratik Kumar, CEO of Magic Bus India Foundation. Welcome, Pratik. I hope you all enjoyed the last very engaging 3.5 days. We had useful discussions focusing on youth development, role of sport in tackling non-communicable diseases, sports and CSR, grassroots sport development, sport for development and peace, for inclusion, and most importantly, relevance of safeguarding in sport and development. We had 16 breakaway sessions in the last 3.5 days. That itself describes the magnitude and the intense discussions we had. With that note, I would like to first invite the two presenters from the Sport and Dev, who is the biggest virtual platform connecting various organizations, NGOs, who are doing small or big work in sport for development. May I kindly invite Jutta Engelhardt from Sport and Dev to please present. Thank you.
Hello everybody. Honored Speaker, excuse me that I'm taking a bit of time from the session. I was actually given this opportunity to really want to thank you, Magic Bus, for this wonderful collaboration that we've had with them. There's been a lot of support for the live streaming, and I think we should be sharing with you what the rest of the world actually has seen during these last 4 days, and how they have responded to the live streaming of the conference throughout the world. So I will ask Stephen Renard to actually give you short details, because Stephen has been the one behind the camera. Hina has also been behind the camera, and I think they have done a wonderful job getting the footage online. So.
Thanks, Jutta. And it hasn't just been me, of course. There's been a whole team behind this, and I'd just like to thank, as Jutta did, Magic Bus for the real partnership actually making this a reality. Hina, in particular, Geetan Jali, if I pronounced that right, who's been helping with articles, and Vidisha. When I found out that Vidisha, give them a round of applause. When I found out that Vidisha through Ina was interested in the idea of live streaming, I was really happy, really excited, because as Jutta says, this is a great opportunity for people that can't make it here to watch live what's going on, the conversations, the discussions, the key points that are taking place that people are hearing here. People around the world can hear that, and who don't have an opportunity to come here. So I think in many ways it's a bit of the democratization of these types of conferences. So I just want to express how important and how significant this is. In terms of reach, the total coverage, we've been streaming all the different sessions, 15 different sessions, so we couldn't make it to each of the breakaways, but we did live stream 15 different sessions. That's 25 hours of live streaming, and we've been hearing from people here, their colleagues back home have been watching, Magic Bus was telling us this, that people back in Mumbai, were able to watch this and were really keen to sort of take part. MISA, I heard from MISA, David Theroux, who was telling me that his colleagues back home were also taking part. My colleagues back home are watching this as well in Switzerland, so it's really quite nice. 1,400 different views at the moment. These videos will remain online, and they'll be you'll be able to access them on sportanddev.org. There's a link on our homepage, and you can link directly to that page. On that page, the live stream page, you'll also find interviews that Jutta and I and Geetanjali and Hina have been conducting, and more of those are to come online, as well as some of the articles that have been written about this conference. So I think it's been quite successful, and I'm really happy that this has taken place here, and hopefully the next steps will be able to cover that live as well. So, thank you.
Bear with me just a tiny little bit longer. In the trend of moving beyond and defining next steps, I actually would like to raise a call for action as well. And this call for action, I would like to draw your attention to the 6th of April. 6th of April is coming up very fast, and I'm sure you all know that 6th of April has become newly appointed to be our day. It's the Sport for Development Day. And it's actually due to organizations like the IOC, who have, in their function as permanent observers to the UN General Assembly, they have actually pushed for it, for governments and for the intricate process of getting something through the UN processes to have this day appointed and make this happen. So I would like to thank also organizations like the IOC, the governments that made it happen, that we now have a day, just like the International Peace and Reconciliation Day on 21st of September, like the Women's Day on 8th of March, the International HIV Day on 1st of December. And we just need to make it happen now. We have a day, it's 6th of April, and I would encourage every single organization here in the room that wants to have activity on that day to make sure that we globally connect that activity, to show that we are a community, that show that this is a sector. So from the side of Sport and Dev, I would like to encourage you to share what you're planning on the 6th of April, and to make sure that we all are aware of that, and that we present that to the wider public and to the bigger development community as our contribution of using sport as a tool for development. Because sport really is a good tool, and if we do it right, it can do a whole lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jutta and Stephen. We indeed will look towards working together for the 6th April and making it a big one. With that, I would like to invite my first speaker, Ms. Melody Arts from the UNO STP.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. For the Sport for Development and Peace International Working Group, this conference has been extremely relevant in terms of connecting with the field of practitioners. We seek to engage with actors from across the sector for expert knowledge on our focus areas. For us, it is important to foster an atmosphere of unity and collaboration in the Sport for Development community, as we acknowledge that we are all working towards the same goal when we are using sport for good. As we feel a particular responsibility to make sure that future editions of this conference can take place, we are currently working on a bidding process for organizations interested to host future editions of this conference. More information regarding the bidding process will be communicated in the following months. I would like to end by thanking Magic Bus and especially Pratik, Sujeev, Preti Harshita, Srikanta for organizing this conference. Although they were so busy with help, they kept smiling and they were always ready to help. One last word of thanks is on behalf of the Executive Board of the Sport for Development and Peace International Working Group. I would like to thank Magic Bus and the hotel for making it possible that we could have our Executive Board meeting in conjunction to this conference. We know that this was already a big organization, but also then in addition holding our Executive Board meeting was extra helpful. Thank you so much.
In fact, the support from UNSDP is really needed, and we look forward to working intensely in India. With that, we move forward. May I invite Bjorn, the head of International Development of Norwegian Olympic Committee, to please come on stage.
Good afternoon, everybody. All protocol reserved. I have learned from Zambia. Observe, sorry. There you see. Why have I been asked to have a kind of closing remarks here? I think it is about age. I have attended all the next steps conferences. Maybe that's another reason. Third reason is that I have been involved in this business since '91. I was sent by my organization to Zimbabwe to run a sport for all program with Sport and Recreation Commission in Zimbabwe. That's what I'm building on. I have been involved since then, more or less. I have done different jobs in my organization, Norwegian Olympic Committee, but I have followed the business closely. So my task from the organizer is to sort of have a look at where were we in the start when the first next step conference took place in Amsterdam, and where are we today. I'm glad that it's not a question and answer session, so what I'm saying is final. In addition, I believe in the African way of looking at elders. They have the final say. My organization, as I said, started early in this business, in '82 in Tanzania. So we have done all the mistakes possible. We are building on that. I think when we gathered in 2003 in Amsterdam, it was a need by the few actors involved at that time to come together and discuss what are we actually doing? Who are we? It was a confusing picture. Very few actors and very few from the sporting side. I'll come back to that. That's my main issues in my presentation. Where is sport? It was a need to be accepted. The field was seen as almost like a joke. Sport is not serious development issue. And we work in isolation. Sometimes you can question the quality of our deliveries. And if this is about sport for development, at least the sport must be of quality. Otherwise, it's not attractive. I think it's the same issue with kids in New Delhi as it is in Oslo. If it's boring, they are not coming. And the attraction is sport. If it's not, then we shouldn't call it sport for development. Then it's something else. One reason for us talking all the time about life skills, sport for development is also a funding issue. You are hardly getting funds to sport development. I think Norway is an exception. UK did the same. All the others, you have to package and use life skills as a huge component. But for me, if you do sport properly, then it's also development. The intrinsic value of sport is also development. And I think sport side should defend that and fight for that. And that also brings me to the M&E. I would say it's too much talking about M&E. On the other hand, we have to prove that we do good work, but because we have this notion of life skills, we are overselling what sport can contribute to. I think we should be a bit cautious. The more we promise, the more we have to prove. So we have to make it a bit more simple. And I think it's easier to prove that sports activities contribute to something, among a lot of other things. Sport is not the most important area in the world, although sometimes it looks like. And it's Winter Olympics these days, so for Norwegians, that's the thing. I think also to engage the sport is also a matter of sustaining our activities. I think the motivation for keeping sports activities going is more towards sport than to the traditional development sector in the long run. I know that in individual initiatives, in the beginning is needed. And it's with all good intentions, but I think if this activity is going to survive in the long run, we need more stronger partnership, relevance partnership, and sport is one of them. So I like to say sport first. Doesn't mean that we are only talking about sport. Sport is, as I said, development in itself if it's done properly. And that's not it. Just a small comment about we are adding peace to the expression sport for development and peace. I think if we give all the resources to Aussie sport, the football from Australia, I think it will be peace all over. Because the rules there allows the youth to express well. So what I want to see in the future among this group and others, it's strong partnership between sport and the development sector. We need each other. We need to bridge the gap. It's not easy, but we should work on it. And I will do my part. What we have experienced as a role, as a NOC in Zambia especially, is that we have become a broker between the NGOs and sport. And maybe that can be our role, because there's a lot of skepticism, as I said. So my next step, wherever that is, where it will be, I hope that the sport sector will be more present, even more than it has been here today. But it was a good start. So thank you to the organizer for not having a question and answer session. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bruce. Indeed, the intrinsic value of sport is for development, and the more we promise is the more we have to prove. So the formula is keep it simple, and we do need each other, both sport and the development sector. With that, I would like to kindly now invite Dame Tessa Joel to make her closing remarks.
Thank you very much indeed, Reka, and this is a moment to say thank you to everybody who has made this conference possible by funding it, by organising it, and the incredible leadership of Majid Bas in realising this. So Pratik, great thanks to you and all your colleagues at Majid Bas for acting as our hosts. Thank you. leave the conference and go back to our own countries, go back to the daily circumstances of our lives, it's important to honour this conference by being clear about what it's changed. Because it's very easy to travel to another part of the world and for 3 days to be simply a moment in time. But what is important is that we all leave this conference changed in some respect by a challenge laid down, a conversation we've had, a new resolution that's made. So I hope that that will be the first thing, that we will, each of us, carry with us the bit of us that has been changed by the interaction and the content, the challenging content of this conference. And the second is to say, how does that create a legacy with its own dynamic that drives change for children and communities around the world? Now, I wasn't here yesterday. Sonia Timms and I were down doing a field visit with Magic Bus in Bangalore, and I find that what makes it possible for me to talk about high-level strategy is seeing the faces of the children in the communities and their circumstances. And what I take away is that every night in the community that we visited and worked with in Bangalore, mothers will be beaten by their husbands. And they will be beaten by their husbands for a whole variety of reasons. But these women are effectively prisoners in their culture, in their community, and their children are spectators of the violence inflicted on them. Spectators, a spectator status which is mitigated only by their regular participation in Magic Bus sessions, which just begin to give them a sense of their own power and their own separate integrity from the brutality that is inflicted on their mothers. So that's the challenge that I take away from this conference. What is it that we can do together to meet that or its equivalent challenge in a multitude of forms in communities around the world? And without being just too prosaic about this, we need, in a time of austerity for economies around the world, we need someone to take responsibility for bringing us all together. And bringing us all together so that the resources of organisations that are facing every day children whose mothers are being beaten, children who are at risk of HIV, children whose diet is so unsustainable that they become dangerously obese before they're 12. All these are the kind of challenges that sport and development, or sport in relation to development, can equip us to meet. And I have a particular optimism that this may well be the moment for the International Olympic Committee, with whom I worked so closely in setting up international inspiration. It may be the moment for the International Olympic Committee to say we see sport and development as part of our core purpose, not just hosting every 2 years the greatest elite sport festival in the world, but also to create a day-in, day-out legacy that recognises the positive power of sport to bring about change and lasting change in children's lives and the lives of their communities. So I hope that that may be a second resolution to take away from this conference, because my great fear is that unless we do get that sustainable long-term support, then in 2 or 3 years' time this conference simply may not take place. because there is no organisation with the resources or the capacity to organise it, and that would be a tragedy. Because just think how much we learn from each other, how much we discover about the different ways, the inventive ways in which sport is being applied for the benefit of children's lives. And we would all be impoverished if we were without that opportunity. So I send into cyberspace or into the ether an invitation to the International Olympic Committee, and I pay tribute to those children who are our inspiration in the communities that Magic Bus serves and around the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. It has always been great to have you championing our sport for development. Your support is greatly valued by all of us. Thank you so much. May I now invite Mr. Ajit Charan, Secretary of Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first of all thank the organizers, Magic Bus, for giving me this opportunity of being here and participating in the session here. I must add, I'm fairly new to the whole field of sports, having taken over as secretary just last end October. So when I think it was sometime in the first week of November, when Magic Bus first approached us for funding for this conference, I was not very enthused. I was a little skeptical. I knowing nothing about the background of this organization and also the potential of sports for development and all. However, a few days into the job and coming to know more about it, I think I personally became quite excited, and I think after that there had no problem in getting a sponsorship. So that's just within a couple of weeks really, the excitement caught on and we were fully behind this whole concept and this conference. Sports for development. Well, we are all aware India is one of the probably the most is the youngest countries in terms of the demographic profile. Almost 53% of our population will be below 23 years as of now. And it's a major challenge to how to harmonize, how to channelize the energies of the youth into constructive areas. And it's very easy that these energies get diverted into destructive or non-productive areas. And probably that's what's happening in large parts of the country, especially the left-wing extremist affected areas which cover almost more than 80 districts in the country today, especially the east and the central part of the country. There are other areas as well where it's very necessary, which are not really part of the mainstream of development in the country today, where the challenge is how to harness the energies, how to see that the youth does not go astray. So it is there that sports can really play a very, very major role in engaging with the youth. So apart from the other marginalized and the disadvantaged sections where we have traditionally been engaging to engage the young children, where with organizations like Magic Bus and other organizations under the general umbrella of Sports for Youth, they have been engaging, have been doing a good job. Probably yes, there's much more potential, but nevertheless the good job being done is good. The areas like the northeastern part of the country, where again, after great difficulty, we have peace in the country today. But it's absolutely essential that we engage the youth and engage them in sports. The youth there, especially in areas like Manipur, is one of the sports-loving parts of the country, and they have been producing many of our elite athletes. But nevertheless, still sports there is not a part of mainstream activities. It's civil society, it's organizations like Magic Bus and other organizations which can go out there, reach out to the youth, and from the side of the government I can assure you our full support in terms of facilitation, in terms of funding to whatever extent is possible to find ways to engage with them. I'm sure over the last 3 days there have been many case studies which have highlighted successful engagements with youth in different situations. I'm sure some of these case studies can be emulated and we can find ways of engaging with youth in areas like our northeastern part of the country, in areas like Chhattisgarh, in areas like Madhya Pradesh, where today there is huge amount of turmoil going on and there are people who are kind of taking advantage of this and creating further unrest. That's a challenge, and I'm sure civil society and other organizations part of civil society will take up this challenge, and I can assure full support of the government there. On our part, of course, I'm sure it must have been highlighted, there's a program called PICA. It really stands for Panchayat Yuva Krida Khel Abhiyan, which is basically engaging the rural community in sports. And today it's one of the biggest outreach programs in the world. Last year there were about 4.2 million children which participated in the sports competitions which are part of this program. This program basically consists of development of the creation of infrastructure by development of play fields in rural areas, and of course engaging the children in various kind of competitions which are 3 to 4 tier competitions starting from village up to the national level. And there's a huge mammoth task involving 4.2 million children. And it's been very useful in harnessing their energies, in talent scouting, in selecting, identifying the best talent at that level and taking them up to the next level in terms of our advanced coaching facilities. That's one program, but still it's largely government driven, and I think the one major lacuna has been the lack of engagement with civil society in this PICA program. So maybe we can find ways of engaging with them in this program. So having said this, I would like to thank and congratulate Najib Bus and other organizers for having done this wonderful, great conference, and I hope we take forward the lessons learned, the case studies presented here, the best practices which have been highlighted, and sure if we can come up, we can engage in further dialogue and see what best lessons we can draw out of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sharan. We look forward to working with you together in various states in India, and we will be happy to share our close to 4.5 years of experience of the Australian Sports Outreach Program through our various partners in India. As the Next Steps conference draws to a close, I would like to take a moment to consider our activities and achievements over the last 3.5 days. The Next Steps conference calls on all governments to recognize that investment in young people using sport as a medium is an investment in national and community development. I hope you all agree with this. The Next Steps conference gave us a platform for sharing the best practices in sport for development. We realized that monitoring and evaluation needs to be built in all stages of the program. The need of showing value with hard data is very, very important and crucial to ensure the flow of funds. Areas that we should focus on are accountability and transparency, effective partnerships, protection and safeguarding of children, communicating the stories that are achieved on the ground, because the more we reach with our success stories with a larger number of people is the more we get authenticity. Sport is an effective way of tackling violence and antisocial behavior by diverting the child and the youth's energy to positive outcomes. Smoking, drinking alcohol, overeating or eating the wrong kind of food, and inactivity are the key factors provoking non-communicable diseases. The World Health Organization and member states have endorsed the NCD Global Action Plan 2013 to 2026 to promote a world free of NCDs. The WHO has also established a partnership with the Olympic Committee to take the agenda of physical activity and health forward. The government should integrate children in every policy that is designed to take them into account. More investment should be made for children. There is a concern that partnerships between the government and the NGOs are unequal, and hence the few sessions in the conference discussed that there is a need to bargain for equal partnerships. One of the most popular sports is indeed football, and we looked at it intensely, looked at various development aspects related to grassroots football. We also looked at various other sports including hockey, cricket, surfing, Australian rules football, amongst the other sports that contribute to development, and there are various successful models around the globe. Sports in India has a long way to go, but we are indeed moving in the right direction. As an important takeaway of the Next Steps conference, we are discussing with the FICCI, the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industries, CSR Center, to set up a sports and CSR committee. The Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs strategic partners to the conference, to the Next Steps conference, will support and act as an enabler. Organizations, NGOs engaged in sport for development and sports development programs also could please connect with me post-conference if they are interested to be a part of this initiative. As leaders in our respective countries, communities, we came here to strengthen ties and partnerships, share our experiences, debate and learn various aspects of sport for development, a sector that has evolved largely over the last decade. We will connect post-conference to keep the dialogue on and continue working towards changing the lives of millions through sport. A compendium of proceedings and all presentations will be up on the Magic Bus website. It will also be there on the Sport and Dev site. So these are important platforms to keep us connected. So I look forward to a further engagement, a dialogue which continues happening between all the participants who were here at the conference. With that note, I would now like to invite Mr. Prateek Kumar to please come on stage for a vote of thanks.
So we are at the business end of Next Step, the very end. And I'm normally a fairly okay speaker, but I suddenly realized I have a lump in the throat and I don't know how to go on. It's going to be a little emotional here, and I hope if I break down, somebody else steps in and does the rest of the vote of thanks. It's a fairly long list to take care of. But to just begin with, I think I would say this has been such a humbling experience. Just to be here, look at this crowd, a wonderful crowd, very diverse. And I'm happy to throw some stats at you, I think pretty staggering. So across the 4 days, we had 451 people come in as delegates, speakers, and these belong to 21 nationalities, including India. I missed out the NAS girls who have just come in because obviously we don't register them. So that would take the numbers pretty staggeringly high if you take the Magic Bus children and the NAS children who are about to perform. So it's been fairly good in terms of numbers, and it's good to see such wonderful participation at the very fag end of the conference. The hall is pretty much full, although we try to be clever and remove a few chairs from the back so that the speakers don't feel too bad. But I think overall it's been fairly steady, and we were worried about a few sessions going underserved as in terms of participation. Just the way we were worried yesterday with a couple of our field trips where we just had 3 or 4 people registering or showing interest that they wanted to be on them. But eventually it turned out that at least there were 10-15 in each of them. And I'm very thankful for the audience and the participants and the speakers in the fluid movements that you had in the various breakaway sessions. We were tearing our hair out in terms of planning how exactly we should send people to which session, how the breakaways will happen, how the slides will actually come in, and how busy or how chaotic that might be. But it just turned out to be wonderful, thanks to the hotel, thanks to our floor managers, and of course thanks to you, lovely girl, but there was no chaos, no nothing. And thank you for that. So let me This will sound a little tech savvy, and I know Stefan and Uta have done a bit of the initial give you some information around how exactly we could remain connected. So Vidisha, my communication head, tells me that we could go onto the Wikipedia page, and on the social development page, I would urge all organizations to keep on adding their profiles as well. As of now, there are just about 6 or 7 of them. And Magic Bus itself has just joined about a week or so back, week or 10 days back. Now, it's really in our interest to make our tribe increase. So it makes sense that all of us, all of the folks present here, their organizations should go. We should go onto this site so that if anybody, Wikipedia, we all know is the most popular site. Anybody wants to know about sport and development, they'll go there. So if you're all there, there's a good chance that people will get to know about this space as well. So it's in the perfect spirit of maybe leading up to the April 6th occasion. That's all. As one point of action, try and go to the Wikipedia site, apart from doing other things, and register ourselves there, get ourselves mentioned there. Let me now come to the formal bit of the vote of thanks. I'm indeed thankful to have Mr. Adish Sharan come down here, sir. It's the first time we've had such thank you, Melody, for coming here and gracing the occasion. But I cannot stop short of thanking Sophie and the Australian Sports Outreach Program and Rekha, the India coordinator. Because if they had not come together to support this, we would have been bankrupt. It's as simple as that. Thank you, Rekha, and the kind of strategic advice that went behind the scenes as well. So it was not just about the finances, it is a very important component, but the way you participated in the whole deliberation in terms of deciding what sessions to focus on, what would be the topic, how should the session flow happen, who should be the speakers, and a lot of other details. Thank you so much. The ASOP program, Sophie and Rekha, thank you so much. My special thanks to IICA, the Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, who are our partners in this program. So none of us are there from the IICA. But interestingly, and Rekha mentioned a few things about them, there's a fantastic roadmap looking ahead of how IICA could be a leading luminary within India to take this agenda forward. And IICA, along with the Federation of FICCI, the Industry Federation, we're working together to put together something robust, something meaningful, something where we can get more stakeholders on board and take this agenda forward. So I'm thankful for IICA. UK Sport, I don't think both Rob and Poonam are here, but just for being a partner on this conference and supporting the travel and the stay. For a few friends who are there in the audience right now, they've been a wonderful partner with Magic Bus in the years gone by, and we continue to have a strong relationship with them. We hope the relationship only gets stronger. I hope they like what they saw here. So I'm indeed thankful to UK Sport. So please, a round of applause. Laureus, Sport for Good. So Ned Willis was here. He left a couple of days back. But Laureus again has been a fantastic supporter of this space, and they do fantastic work across probably 50 odd countries globally, which makes them one of the bigger players in this space, and they have a lot of goodwill going around. And of course, they do the Athlete of the Year and the Sportsman of the Year, so they're a big brand themselves also. It's wonderful to have Laureus as a partner here, and a round of applause for Laureus as well. Sportanddev.org. I think we really moved leaps and bounds in the social media space thanks to the expertise that Uta and Stephen brought in here. And the kind of coaching Hina, Gitanjali, Vidisha and a few of our folks have gone through under you in the last 4 days. Thanks for being the online partner, for doing this live streaming, coming up on stage to enthuse us for the 6th of April and moving forward. I'm sure there'll be a lot of things going forward. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of it. I'd like to thank the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry, FICCI, for being a partner with us. They really helped us out with reaching out to some corporate partners that we also have we had on the dais on that day, and otherwise as well in terms of just sending out invites and getting a bit of buzz for next steps around the country. So a round of applause for FICCI. Having gone through a bunch of formal partners, I'll just quickly read out some names because the list I realize is getting longer by the hour. So NGO Box, I'd like to thank NGO Box, Sports Power, the online platform which has done wonderfully well, and I must give them the credit to put us in touch with Vijay Amritraj. I don't think Thomas is here, but whoever can pass on the message to Thomas, thank you for getting us Vijay Amritraj. To Turkish Airlines for flying in a few participants for us, and thank you for being a partner again. To our blog partner, Economy Debated. And finally to our ASOP partners, we have Naz, and you will see girls here ready to perform the moment we vacate the stage. To the Rashtriya Life Saving Society of India, the folks who are not here today, to UNICEF, to the Aussie Rules Football Association of India. I'm not sure if Sudeep and company are here. Oh, you're there. Thank you, Sudeep. And our field partners, so for the field visit yesterday, Kutum and Sequin, those guys were very helpful to allow this to happen, so I chose to remember them. I don't think anybody is there from that federation, that NGO, but I'm so happy that they were there. I think one of the highlights on this conference was also the presence of some academic luminaries. It's difficult for me to remember because I saw so many of them, but I can see a couple of them right in the front seat. So thank you, Akash, from coming from the Institute of Social Work, and Professor Singh from Diwali University. Your entrance to the NCT sessions were absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, sir, for being here. Last but not the least, I should really sincerely thank the speakers who come in here. I think I got a lot of feedback from folks when I used to kind of go around looking very busy in the corridors when fitting in and out of rooms. I think the panels were fairly awesome. And the kind of speakers we had here, absolutely mind-blowing. And I think that is what makes and everything, they're all important, they have served their own purpose. But basically what you take home is the knowledge, is the wisdom that comes from people who sit on the panel, who kind of address your questions, and that is the knowledge, the wisdom that you take home really makes a conference what it is. And I really thank all the speakers from the bottom of my heart to listen to us, be patient with us for some really last minute inputs that we're giving, because a lot of the speakers were actually being decided on the panel. So one of them being Andres from Vietnam, who just decided today that he's going to be on the panel, and he just chose to be in the panel in the breakaway on inclusion. And he did a fantastic job. Thank you, Andres. No conference obviously can be a decent conference without some good, interactive, highly charged, energetic participants. And that's what I see right now in front of me. This bunch is absolutely amazing. To see so many of you on the last day, which is actually the 4th day of the conference, waiting for me to finish, of course, but none of you actually sleeping off, dozing off, or possibly cursing me under your breath. And across the 4 days, really charged, really interacting. Then I saw a lot of action in the corridors. There was a lot of networking happening. I think whatever the speakers might be, whatever the organizers might be, but it is the participants who make or break a conference. It is your energy, it is your enthusiasm, it is your participation, it is your interaction that makes or breaks a conference. So thank you so much for being such wonderful participants. My thanks also to Holiday Inn and Crown Plaza management here. They're putting a fantastic show. They're probably the unsung heroes. So Prashant, my event manager, wherever he is, his team, there are a lot of the unsung heroes who kind of just work behind the scenes. Nobody takes notice of them. And for the slightest fall, they get yelled at. But they've kept their face smiling, and they've been at it without a problem. Absolutely none. And my last hurrah for you-know-who. This is for Magic Bus. It's a long list, so I just don't want to go into the list. So let me start off by thanking Matthew in his flaming red pants for the day. It's leadership like this and inspiration like this that kind of just triggers a whole chain reaction that makes Magic Bus what it is today. So thank you, Matthew, for just being there, inspiring us all and making us do what we do. A couple of names I cannot stop, and please don't feel bad if other names are not taken, because I didn't have too much time to think through that how many names I should be taking. But the first name, I have a list here. Preeti. So I think every participant, every speaker knows who Preeti is. So you know why I'm taking her name. Doesn't matter. I'll stop here because I kind of realize the list is going long and everybody's going to fill the stage here. We have so many employees with us, you know. But the idea really was that these guys have been star of the show in almost the order in which I have called them over here. Believe me, Magic Pass has a crack team of professionals. We try and choose the best that is available there. And we obviously didn't have an even management company, and to take care of everything from logistics to hotels to billings to field visits to whatever. If you look at the elements that had to be looked into, was fantastic. But with a team like this, you don't have to worry about it. It's just done. You just sleep, and the next day it's all ready. Already happened. I've been conscious not to call the senior team, but we'll handle it later. Thank you so much. There's a whole bunch of my district program managers, Jeevan Jyoti, Indu, Neeraj, my training monitoring officers, my youth mentors, the guys, my trainers, my whole Bombay team. I'm sorry, I'm not taking names in particular here. I've been a little biased with folks in Delhi because but it's lovely to work with a team where people know their roles. I don't have to keep yelling at them, and I might have lost a temper once in a while, but beyond that, really not much. So I try to keep smiling, I try to interact, I try to keep my cool, but inside there's a lot of turmoil happening. But there are quite a few folks who work tirelessly at it, and I think the entire Magic Bus family and our supporters need to receive a round of applause. It's also an amazing coincidence that tomorrow Magic Bus celebrates its 15th birthday. Actually, we're specifically enough to have it on a Valentine's Day so that the world celebrates it, not just us. But post this interaction, and we just come to the end of it, it has been indeed a wonderful 4-day journey. It's been lovely to have you here. I hope you've been good hosts. We've taken care of you well. I hope you can add good memories.
Delhi tour.
Come on.
Delhi tour.
Oh, too many people prompting me. Just hold on. I'll try and cover as much as we can. So I hope it's been a wonderful 4-day journey. There's been a lot that we've learned. That I'm sure there's a lot of good memories that you will take home. In the true spirit of Atithi Devo Bhava, which in English translates that as a guest you are my God in my house, so we ought to treat you like one. We hope we have come to your expectations. If not, do forgive us. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for coming here. To quickly like to clear the stage now. Thank you so much. And we have girls from the NAS Foundation, and there's a small story to this one as well. When NAS saw the Magic Bus children performing on day one, we immediately got a request that if they can perform, why can't we? So we created this window for just you. Thank you for making it. And just one last announcement. Tomorrow we have a Delhi city tour. If you still have not asked for it or registered for it, please go to the information desk and do so.
I missed it too.
Hi everyone. So now we are at the end of the conference, and I'm Jaya from NAS, and I have a small team here. We have Sarita, Manisha, Saloni, Twinkle, and Priya. And actually, in the lead up to International Women's Day, for last 2 years, we have been doing self-defense training for all our girls for gender-based violence as a tool to tackle gender-based violence. So there is a small demonstration of the self-defense training they have been doing. So please watch. Hello. Sikurachi punch position. Ready? Up. Hey. Upper punch. 1. Hey. 2. Hey. 3. Hey. 4. Hey. Middle punch. 1. Hey. 2. Hey. 3. Hey. 4. Hey. Lower punch. 1. Hey. 2. Hey. 3. Hey. 4. Hey. Palm thumbs. 1. Hey. 2. Hey. 3. Hey. 4. Hey. Upper fingertips attack. 1. Hey. 2. Hey. 3. Hey. 4. Hey. Middle fingertips attack. 1. Hey. 2. Hey. 3. Hey. 4. Hey. Lower fingertips attack. 1. Hey. 2. Hey. 3. Hey. 4. Hey. Round punch. 1. Hey. 2. Hey. 3. Hey. 4. Hey. Position change. Hey. Hey. Up. Side punch. 1. Hey. 2. Hey. 3. Hey. 4. Hey. Lower punch. 1. Hey. 2. Hey. 3. Hey. 4. Hey. Chinsuki. 1. Hey. 2. Hey. 3. Hey. 4. Hey. Chinalbu type. 1. Hey. 2. Hey. 3. Hey. 4. Hey. Centalbu type. 1. Hey. 2. Hey. 3. Hey. 4. Hey. Thank you. Another lead up to International Women's Day, last year what we did was we did a 1 million rising song, and where all our girls, all the mothers, around 200 of our girls and mothers, we all danced together on 1 million rising, which is against gender-based violence. So International Women's Day again is approaching. So I urge and request everyone to just stand up wherever they are and please join us at the 1 Million Rising song with the girls, and they will be performing and you can just clap and whatever actions you can do. So can we have the song? Just watch and do.